His name is Enzo Amore, and he is a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. Yeah, basically that sums it up, everything that he was doing throughout 2017. I could end the video right here, but I have to go into detail. This was sadly the year I stopped liking Enzo, and to an extent Big Cass, when they were faces. Mostly because, it wasn't because of them doing some shady thing backstage, I don't know. It's the fact that, how am I supposed to like these two if Enzo can get away with sexually harassing Lana, and Big Cass is protecting him despite the fact that he should know he was in the wrong, and Rusev is demonized because he dared protect his wife's honor and virtue. And sure enough, Enzo makes the situation worse when he angers Jinder Mahal, leading to Jinder Mahal actually being justified to attacking him. So really, yeah, we're all stuck here. Like, how am I supposed to root for Enzo? And Big Cass is being an idiot here because he's protecting Enzo, even though really Enzo shouldn't need protection. He needs to be punished for this in this storyline. Like, they should just double turn them, then I wouldn't be so angry with this feud. But because Vince McMahon has a clear prejudice towards foreigners for some reason, and also a clear prejudice towards NXT talent, and a clear hatred for Rusev and Lana expressing their love for each other by announcing their engagement to one another, that clearly means they have to be villains despite all the context in the storyline. So yeah, Enzo heading into 2017 and Big Cass especially, yeah, they weren't doing so well anymore. They had lost their luster within less than 2 years. So, yeah. They continued feuding with Enzo and Jinder Mahal. And continued feuding with Rusev and Jinder Mahal, his best buddy, Big Cass, for now. But Enzo would participate in the Royal Rumble match, entering at number 27, and was willing to say, "You want fuck the logic, I'm gonna charge at Brock Lesnar," and ultimately get eliminated within 35 seconds at best. And then, during the build-up to WrestleMania, after their feud with Jinder Mahal and Rusev ended, they would start a build-up for WrestleMania 33 to start going ahead and basically bring in ladders against the then defending champions, the Club, against former champions, the Bar, and eventually the returning Hardy Boys, where the Hardys emerged victorious, much to the dismay of those who want the new guys to get over. So, yeah, the following night on Raw, Enzo Amore and Big Cass were then defeated by the Bar in a tag team match to determine the new number one contenders for the Raw Tag Team Championship. And then for the following week, on April 17th later on, Enzo and Cass were then defeated by Anderson and Gallows. And then they were originally, I thought they were going to do a feud with the Revival, but however, one of them were still out, and I'll bring up them in a little bit. And then May happened, and like I said, I was gone for most of that time because I was on vacation and I did not have time to watch WWE, which was the greatest stress-free environment I ever had regarding WWE, and my pessimism regarding WWE. But anyways, throughout May, Enzo was repeatedly knocked unconscious by an unknown attacker. Big Cass went on to believe that it was the Revival because they're heels, and two, we saw them backstage. It's just, yeah, they didn't really focus on it. They just played it subtlety, and I was like, wait. Vince made something subtle? My God. It was a miracle. He's being subtle? My God. Oh, imagine the possibilities of subtlety and storytelling. Even though we kind of sort of know where this is going to go. But still, imagine the possibilities of being subtle in a storyline. And once again, they did it again, and again, and again. And they kept slow burning this eventual reveal of who the attacker was when they showed Big Cass was knocked unconscious, allegedly, and Amore would team up with the Big Show in a match against the Club, which they won, and Cass then went on to accuse Big Show after he was also found unconscious again, and claimed that the attacker had to have a giant fist and blamed Big Show, who denied having been the attacker. Then on June 19th, as I was still gone, General Manager Kurt Angle attempted to expose who this attacker was. First, believing it might have been Big Show, leading to Big Show threatening to leave WWE after the Raw, at least, after the huge insult considering how much they've known each other for many years. He never followed through on that. That would have actually been, you know, freaking interesting. But yeah, they didn't follow through on that. So, and also it led to Big Show doing the Certified G promos, which was weird at best and confusing at worst. But yeah, moving on. And the Revival had solid alibis and witnesses. And like, are we seriously treating this like it's a legitimate investigation? We know what's going to happen. Like, I know you're trying to build it up, but reports spoiled that like months ago. Like, you were thinking, hey, let's break them up. So, but then all this slow burning process that was actually pretty good with some subtleties, which I still can't believe it's Vince McMahon's idea. I'm trying to really doubt that and say it was Triple H because there's no way Vince would go subtle on us after so many years of blatant obviousness. But yeah, anyways. Then the slow burn got wrecked because even though we as fans knew it, the execution needed to go right. Here's the thing. The footage that they showed, okay, that is not what led to the problem. It's the fact that Corey Graves was the one who revealed it. Why? It's not because Corey Graves hates Enzo, though that is a major reason why that doesn't make sense. So he would have preferred if Enzo kept getting beaten up every week and the attacker just went unseen and Corey Graves, in theory, could have just kept it to himself. But it makes Kurt Angle look like a freaking idiot. Because isn't Kurt Angle technically in charge of the building since Stephanie McMahon's not here? So shouldn't he have access to footage? Like, yeah, why does Corey Graves have it? Unless they've established that Cass deleted the footage, but Corey Graves has a friend who works there, and they could have just done handheld footage, but that would have given too much ideas. That it made no sense to me. Like, it really didn't make any sense to me. They could have done that, but no, they gave it to Corey Graves, even though it's been revealed he, in both character and in real life, hates Enzo. I'll get to that in a moment. Then Cass admitted to being revealed as the attacker after Cass was revealed to have faked his own attack in order to lure away suspicion. Much to Enzo's initial denial, and then he goes on this triad explaining why he is no longer wanting to be buddies with Enzo. And I did love this moment where Enzo legitimately shed a tear. I was like, okay, you may not be top tier main event wrestling material, but you are a damn fine actor. And Big Cass's reasons why he's just fed up with Enzo is honestly legit. Not in like real life, more like legitimately like you understand why he feels this way. Like really think about it. He and Enzo are from NXT. They never won the NXT title. They were given opportunities, but they always never won it. They couldn't get the Raw Tag Team titles. And wasn't Enzo mostly the guy that got the fall every time? So couldn't they so he can make that argument. And it was around this time we heard the stories. Enzo apparently has pissed everybody off. Now, Enzo had revealed in an episode of Straight to the Source here in 2018 that apparently he and Big Cass haven't been talking since what happened a few weeks later, sometime in August. I'll get to that, but yeah, but they haven't spoken to each other like as friends or in personal life after something that happened in August. But yeah, I missed the full length segment, but I saw the edited version of it. I get the whole thing. So Cass attacks Enzo, and Cass officially turns heel and disbands the team. On the June 26th episode of Raw, and I'm just gonna skip this. I just heard it. An emotional Enzo calls out Cass to the ring, and the two seemingly reconcile. However, Cass again viciously attacks Enzo on the stage, cementing his heel turn. And then we get their first confrontation at Great Balls of Fire, where Enzo would alternately lose to Cass within 5 minutes. And then heading into SummerSlam, they didn't do another match. Oh, they did a match. It's just Big Show kept making the save, even though he had said he shouldn't be on Raw anymore if Kurt Angle doesn't trust him. So, yeah. And then, due to Enzo's constant involvements, Cass demanded that Kurt Angle put Enzo in a shark cage. Surprisingly, it's the second shark cage in that same year. The first was Chris Jericho. And then Enzo goes ahead, is suspended above the shark cage. However, during the horrible match of Cass versus Big Show, Enzo escaped the shark cage with basically anything that is able to get through bars, and he somehow managed to pull that off, but was quickly destroyed by Cass, and ultimately Cass won the match. The next night on Raw, Enzo challenged Cass to a Brooklyn street fight, which he won after the referee stopped the match after Cass suffered a legitimate knee injury, who is still out, and also this led to a report and also confirmation that Enzo and Cass haven't really talked in real life since that injury, so apparently there might be some heat between the two buddies, which does kind of tie into what happened following August 22nd. On 205 Live, Enzo, who had for weeks before all this was saying he would want to do it, joined the Cruiserweight division, confronting then Cruiserweight champion Neville, beginning a feud with him in the process. I don't watch 205 Live, so I really don't give a care. So, yeah. And, like I said, this is when something was starting to happen in September. So, okay. On August 28th episode of Raw, Enzo scored his first victory against Noam Dar, who cheating, then teamed up with Cedric Alexander and Grand Metalik to defeat Dar, Tony Nese, and Drew Gulak by cheating. And then September comes in. After he had earned a title opportunity against Neville for the Cruiserweight title at No Mercy, winning a fatal 5-way match involving Alexander, Brian Kendrick, Metalik, and Nese, allowing Alexander to eliminate the other competitors before stealing the win. Enzo's build up to the No Mercy pay-per-view, it was a freaking disaster, mostly because they barely interacted. Like, the only times is at Neville laughing at Enzo's face. And yeah, we start getting more of signs that he's going to the dark side with all the cheating. And then all throughout September, during the lead up to No Mercy, it goes ahead and Enzo just gets his ass handed to him by virtually everybody in the roster. Like, first is Braun Strowman, then it's The Miz, and I already covered the Miz incident that happened. And then reports start coming out that apparently Enzo is really hated by the people backstage, and not just the management. He's hated by the roster as well. Like, it was said, Roman Reigns threw him off a tour bus. He's not allowed backstage in the locker room to dress up. He's hated. They don't like him. They find his personality in the ring too much like his personality outside the ring. And considering he gave a political rant, which is really not a taboo when it comes to the internet, unless they want to start a flame war, which, luckily I have managed to avoid in my political videos that doesn't relate to long-term politics, except for net neutrality. That's a different matter. Yeah. Enzo, I didn't go over how good he was in the Cruiserweight matches because, let's be honest, he sucked in all of them. So, yeah. And Enzo was still trying to be pushed as a face for a little bit, yet he goes ahead and implies that Maurice cheated on Miz to get the baby. Congrats. And Miz brings up the point where he and Enzo are a lot alike when he was younger. Because he was hated backstage, apparently. They didn't like him. He had to work his way up to prove he belongs. So, Yeah, and yeah, I could have actually bought into an Enzo Miz alliance. Like, Miz could be his buddy because he's been in that same pattern, but even Miz is not liking him apparently. So all this happening, Neville and Enzo don't even interact, like, at all. So, you would think that due to all this, and Enzo basically not getting any momentum heading into the pay-per-view, they would just, screw it, let's have Neville keep the title. They didn't do that. They instead, after Neville beats the shit out of him throughout the entire matchup, and barely getting a few shots in, Amore ultimately wins with a low blow, showing signs of a heel turn to win the Cruiserweight Championship, claiming his first title win within the WWE. Meanwhile, Big Cass has not won a title yet. So everyone was wondering, wait, well, why the hell did that happen? Well, why the hell did that exactly happen? Well, yeah, here's the thing about that. Even though it's been confirmed that Vince doesn't like him, the management doesn't like him, the roster doesn't like him, the fans were starting to get sick of him because his personality started going to a more messed up state. Like, not the good type of annoyance you would get, more like the very frustrating type. And I was, like, more desensitized with it, so it didn't bother me because I was like, yeah, considering that his biggest storyline to date up until this point was with Rusev and Lana for all the wrong reasons, I just stopped being interested in Enzo's character because apparently, since he's the quote good guy, he can get away with sexually harassing a married woman, or any woman in general, and insult a guy's culture, and get assaulted for it, and yet his buddy will make the save, even though the heels are clearly have legitimate reasons to go after this guy, but yeah, they're still being treated like they're the villains because of their foreign ethnicities. That's the thing I got from that. So, yeah, moving on. Following that, so people were wondering, why does Enzo get these opportunities after everything that's happening and after everything that came to light? Well, despite this controversy Enzo has with the people backstage, he makes a lot of money with merchandise. Yeah. That is the only reason. That is the only reason why he got the title. Because he sells merchandise. So, if we're going by this logic, shouldn't CM Punk have been given better respect in terms of the management because he sells merchandise? But because CM Punk... here's the thing. CM Punk sold merchandise more than Cena. So instead of seeing this as a good thing that, hey, we got a new star, we can do more main event storylines, and if one gets injured, we have a guy to replace him. Vince, being petty, doesn't like a guy from the indies or anyone that's not Cena and a kiss ass in general, decides to make more Cena merchandise and try to lower CM Punk's shirts just so Cena could sell more than him. Which is why when Cena says that he will not change because he sells so much at Survivor Series in that documentary, it's complete bullshit. Which means he can't use that excuse because everyone now knows that Vince is favoring him and manipulating the merchandise sales, so people would have no choice but to buy the shirt because they have made certain that no one else can get more shirt sales. So, yeah, that would explain why Cena's color kept changing every single week when he had a shirt. Because Vince is making more shirts in order to outsell Punk. So, yeah, that happened. So, if we're going by this logic, should Enzo not be selling more merchandise and they could have just boosted up James Ellsworth? But because James Ellsworth was more like a joke instead of Enzo, that apparently warrants a dismissive reprisal on that? But anyways, the following night on Raw, Enzo convinced Kurt Angle, much to his frustration, to close the show with a championship celebration. The first time a Cruiserweight champion, or any Cruiserweight, main evented Raw. So, during this segment, Amore, who was still being cheered by the fans, continued to signal his heel turn by insulting every single member of the Cruiserweight division, saying that since debating on 205 Live, he made the show relevant, and claimed that the roster was jealous of his accomplishments. He also showed a signed clause by Kurt Angle that if any Cruiserweight touches him tonight, they would lose their title opportunities in the future. As long as he's still champion, they would all lose it. They would lose it. However, there was two major problems with this thing. One, regarding the show being relevant, here's the thing. Enzo legitimately can't claim that in storyline he can, but in real life he can't because, you see, a report came out that the only thing that changed when Enzo became a Cruiserweight was a boost in viewership on his debut, and then it went back to normal numbers. So, less than a day, everyone already doesn't care anymore. So, yeah, now 205 Live is even more worthless to fans because now they have Enzo as champion. So, like I said, I was all for Enzo turning heel because at this point he should have just been a heel when he was feuding with Rusev and Jinder Mahal and Lana with his buddy Cass. They could have done that, but no. Foreigners are evil to Vince, and therefore they have to be treated as such. See why I get the feeling why I don't think Vince will be all for Rusev Day going face? But moving on. Neville comes out and defends the Cruiserweights despite being a heel. And this signals the double turn. And then Enzo says a line that I addressed in the Neville leaving WWE video, where I think that might have made him snap ultimately. I mean, like, that was there was a build up to it, but eventually it just reached a breaking point where Enzo said this to Neville. In the 9 months that you held this title, you never even sniffed this hour. And I was like, considering what happened a few weeks later, I'm getting the feeling that was a snapping point. Like, Vince basically told Enzo to tell Neville, although we appreciate what you've done and with the title you've held for 9 months, yeah, we don't really like you. We're favoring the guy who is not you in every way possible because he sells, unlike you. In fact, we'll give you crappy merchandise of a King Neville Cruiserweight thing that is horribly ugly that even you will complain about it and walk out because of it. And Neville ultimately be pissed off, and I'm pretty sure he was thinking to himself, okay, yeah, you know what, fuck it. Attacked Enzo, losing his rematch clause and future title opportunities, and then following Raw's airing on TV, Braun Strowman, for some reason, comes out, power slams Enzo, and then goes face for a moment and says, "You want him, boys? Go get him!" Even though I would have loved a massacre of Braun just beating the living hell out of every single Cruiserweight. So, yeah, that was hilarious. And the Cruiserweights proceed to beat up Neville, every single one of them. And they've all lost their contract. They all lost their title opportunities. And Enzo, with legitimacy, can say, "I'm going to keep this title forever." And continues to say that he is the reason why the Cruiserweight division is relevant again. I still don't like calling them Cruiserweights because when I think of Cruiserweights, I think of the old WWE Cruiserweights where they could go somewhere else and not be relegated to just Cruiserweights. Or I could go ahead and think of WCW when it was still good before they fucked everything up in '98. So yeah, I still think of that. So, yeah, I still call this 205, so I really just don't like to call them Cruiserweights because it's an insult to Cruiserweights of the past. And after Japan's match with the first ever four-way match for the Junior Heavyweight title, yeah, that is the biggest insult. Yeah, anyways. Enzo goes ahead and doubles down on his statements, further insulting the Cruiserweights. And then after Neville's match against Ariya Daivari, Enzo assaulted him with the crutches he was having and completed a double turn between Neville and Enzo, turning Enzo heel officially for the first time. The week after Raw, Enzo revealed yet another clause, stating that any Cruiserweight that tries to touch him will be fired, leading to Enzo delivering the biggest amount of insults to Cruiserweights of all time when they surrounded him. And Neville, once again, has this pissed off look like he's been drinking, and is also trying his best not to rant and break down in tears because his precious been taken from him. Yeah, that was oddly specific, wasn't it? But people on the internet said it. And subsequently, Kalisto would be introduced as the newest member of the Cruiserweights and attacked Amore since he was exempt from all these clauses, much to his anger to Kurt Angle. And then Kurt Angle booked the match of being a lumberjack match with all the Cruiserweights and Enzo Amore against Kalisto, ending his reign at 15 days. Now, there was a reason why this happened. Firstly, Neville walked down and quit. Yeah, the reason why I say that is because originally they were going to do the lumberjack match, except Enzo was supposed to beat Neville. And the match would happen at TLC. So, yeah. And also, WWE themselves admitted that, wait, we just realized something. We just basically negated everyone's right to have a championship match. There is nothing left here for Enzo to do. Oh god, we've written ourselves in a corner! Quick, drop the title and then he can win it back at TLC. Which of course he did, sadly, so therefore we have Enzo. After he had recruited the guys the heels of the Cruiserweights who he bashed as well, which never got an explanation. Like, he said he paid them, but seriously, even they were admitting that they were suffering from attacker's remorse because they lost their Cruiserweight opportunities, but they also said, you know what, even though I feel remorse for losing my title opportunity, I still feel like it was right to beat the hell out of Enzo. So why in God's name are they helping him now? I'm pretty sure the money was not that... I'm pretty sure it would have to be a pretty fat paycheck. And considering that Enzo willingly spent $100,000 to see Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor in a boxing match, I'm pretty certain he had enough money for all of them. Yeah, and at Survivor Series kickoff, Enzo eventually defended his title against Kalisto after a few weeks of more build-up and insulting the UK division and them getting their asses handed to them. Mostly Enzo getting his ass handed by the Cruiserweights, but that was hilarious. But also I felt like it was a huge missed opportunity for 205 Live division to fight the UK division. Basically, the closest we would probably get to a Vince McMahon versus Triple H. Because Triple H was ordering his UK division to fight the people he brought in, but Vince royally fucked over. That would have been awesome, but no, we can't do that. That'd be too much of a good idea. So, then we got what happened on December 4th. Nia Jax is attracted to Enzo and begins a, quote, relationship with Amore. Why? Did you just... Why? Why? I don't get it. I really don't. Why is Nia Jax, who's been portrayed as a monster in NXT and early into her run in the main roster, is now being all flirtatious and attracted to Enzo? And also, didn't he break up with a girl a few weeks ago and mention that... Wasn't Enzo dating, what's her name? Liv Morgan, I think? And Enzo and her broke up for some reason that was never explained. But this is real life, so I'm just going to move on from that. But, yeah, moving on from that. I was thinking, why is Nia Jax attracted to Enzo? We don't get an explanation for that. And even now, I still don't get the reason. Like, Nia Jax is supposed to be the monster here. But she's being all this, and I'm like, what happened? Did being gone for several weeks bonk you in the head and you just do whatever Vince tells you to do? No, after that, you should just walk out the minute you realize, oh, fuck, I'm being relegated to this. And then it was reported that WWE was going to conduct 205 house shows. Which is even stupider. They've already canceled the show because there's not enough ticket sales, even though they're trying to say bullshit claims, saying, traveling and schedule. Yeah, I still kept saying, why not just keep the 205 division show on, you know, full sale? So you don't have to waste more travel money, even though you're already clearly doing that. Because burning money is much better than saving money and keeping it efficient. And then... Again, Nia Jax talks to Enzo and wants to talk to him privately. And then finally, on December 25th, Enzo and Nia Jax almost kiss. But luckily, Bliss is here to save the day. It's about the upcoming Women's Royal Rumble match, which I still don't want to get into yet. Leaving Amore angered, and around this time, Drew Gulak was getting very popular. Speaking as Enzo, doing Enzo stuff, doing the PowerPoint presentation, getting over. It was hilarious. Like, at least Drew Gulak will get something out of this. I mean, like, I looked up about him. Yeah, he's American, so clearly he's going to be saved from not being horribly buried because of a foreign descent. But that's beside the point. Yeah, that basically ends Enzo's year in 2017, and he might be injured in 2018 right now after he got sick and was injured in a match against Cedric Alexander, probably twice, but we'll learn that later. Like, he did get stitches, but we'll learn later. Yeah, so yeah, and here's the thing. There was one major missed opportunity they could have done with Enzo to really get an emotion. I credit Ryan Delbert if he ever watches this video for this. Enzo lost his best friend. I would have loved, like freaking loved, a storyline of Enzo. Like, they got some things right with Enzo being very emotional regarding Big Cass's basically betrayal of him. Like, this was a long friendship because it was confirmed in real life that they met in middle school and then met up again in NXT after they haven't seen each other in so many years. And I was like, okay, that's pretty awesome. But moving on from that part, Enzo should have, like, done this thing where he comes out and says, my name is Enzo Amore, and I am a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Big Cat. And then he breaks down in tears, realizing, like, still in this state of denial, like he should have gone through the 5 stages of grief. Like, he goes into denial, all this stuff. It would have been perfect for him. But no, they didn't want to do that because emotions are too complex for kids to feel. Even though kids can feel these things, like when a family member passes away or when their friends betray them. And I had my fair share of that regarding elementary, but I don't like to get into that. Let's just say this, I was almost drowned once. So, yeah, I'd rather not get into that. So yeah, Enzo, they had an opportunity to really make Enzo's emotions be the center stage, and like in matches he would lose the will to even fight because Cass isn't there to help cheer him on, like to give him emotional support. Like he's virtually losing his mind, and then they could have done the heel turn where he does the acceptance, but in his rage just destroys somebody in the process, like with weaponry and whatnot, and then he starts to become more egotistical in the process as he's going through this phase. That would have been perfect, but no, we can't do that because 1, Enzo's hated, and 2, he sells merchandise, so turning him heel, even though we did that later on, would be bad for business, and because he's an NXT guy, he's the scum of the earth, and by default, because he's an NXT guy. So yeah, I just thought that was a huge wasted opportunity right there. They could have done that. Nope, they couldn't. I would have loved it, and I credit Ryan Delbert for even bringing up the whole Enzo could have mentioned Big Cass's name and then break down in tears during the entrance they usually used to do. And here's the saddest thing. The Revival kind of got this right. When, I'm trying to remember which one of them got injured heading into SummerSlam, and then during a show on Main Event, which you can check out all on the WWE Network for only $9.99. There, I did your plug, so pay me millions of dollars, please. But anyways, one of the members of the Revival who wasn't injured goes out and decides to try and do the entrance with his buddy who isn't there, but then realizes what happens and just points like, oh yeah, he's gone. And this is on Main Event, the C-Show, where they shouldn't be trying to do this kind of effort. Like, he was in the state of denial. And sadly, that only lasted a week, and they didn't show this on national television, so they really wouldn't be able to do anything with it. But still, the C-Show of all places got this right. Why? Why couldn't they do this on TV? Why couldn't they do it on main event? Why couldn't they, not main event, I mean, why couldn't they do it on Raw? Why couldn't they just do that? No, we can't get nice things out of this because fuck the fans, right? But yeah, I look at that and I see the one huge wasted potential that probably could have redeemed Enzo's character after the Rusev Lana Jinder Mahal debacle. So, yeah, Enzo's still Cruiserweight Champion, embracing his heel turn to the extreme. No idea what's in store for him in 2018 other than what I've just mentioned beforehand. But, honestly, I really, really hope when Big Cass comes back, we're going to see some hilarity. Like, Enzo hinted that he might want to continue his feud with Big Cass considering how things ended up. But, yeah, this would be it'll be interesting. Like, I'm not expecting cruiserweights to get more popular. Let's be honest, that's not going to happen. In fact, it got so bad that Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt was announced as a, quote, special attraction because they know they couldn't sell the house shows of 205 because they didn't care. And now they're trying to get Goldust because they thought, fans don't want to see the 205 division even though we're calling it a 205 live house show. Right? That's how it works, right? So, yeah, now the cruiserweights are more or less relevant and less for me caring. Like, they had a little bit of momentum, but that was mostly because Raw just was in a state of not giving a fuck because they didn't have a pay-per-view in December. But still, it got a little bit of momentum, then heading into Royal Rumble, this is going to go down. So, those were my thoughts on Enzo's 2017 at best. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate. And stay tuned for more. And bow to your king!